talking about the bridge and seaport. Even from the seats in the upper decks, you could see the seashore. Tailgate function with the carne asada. Just walk from the tribal building for the Padres, I'm on it. Yeah, cause for the 619, we'll knock you down. Anything for the Brown, put it on the town. Started back rocking the Brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padre gang.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 253 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. I'm your host, Ben Fadden. Hopefully, you can hear me well. At the beginning there, I couldn't hear the intro music, so hopefully that's just on my end, not on your end. But the Padres, they just dropped Game 1 of the NLCS to the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 2-0. To be honest, it's still kind of surreal for me to be saying the Padres are even in the NLCS. But they lost 2-0 tonight. I was there. The atmosphere I thought was pretty good again. It wasn't as strong, at least the crowd noise and all that. It wasn't as strong as like the Dodger series, but that was expected. I mean, the Dodgers, they're the Padres' rival. The Phillies aren't a Padres' rival. You didn't have the beat LA chants, going constantly. And the Padres offense just didn't do anything. They got one hit, and it's not like I'm going to sit here and be all pissed off about tonight's game because, to be honest, I thought it was a pretty good game. It was just a really, really good pitching matchup between the two teams. That's what I saw. The Phillies, I mean, they didn't do a whole lot either. They got, 3 hits in this game? The Padres got 1. The difference was the Phillies came up with the home runs, and the Padres didn't. Will Myers got the Padres' only hit of this game, and that happened. What inning did it happen? Like the 4th or the 5th? Happened in the 5th inning. A single to center. That was the Padres' only hit, and then in that 5th inning, Ha-Seong Kim popped out to first, and then Trent Grisham struck out swinging. Wasn't a great day for Grish. Struck out a couple times, left a guy on, left Myers on. But I'm not going to get on Grish because he has been one of the MVPs of this postseason for the Padres. So there's no point in me saying, oh, Grish got to be better. No. The lineup, I guess you could say as a whole, has to be better, like tomorrow. But I'm not going to sit here and be like yelling or anything and be all pissed off about tonight because sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the other team. And tonight, the Phillies, they pitched really, really well. Zack Wheeler tonight, he went 7 innings, the same as Darvish, gave up 1 hit, 2 less than Darvish, I believe. No runs, walked 1 guy, and struck out 8. If you look at Darvish's line, it's pretty similar. 7 innings, 2 runs instead of no runs, 3 hits, 2 more hits than Wheeler, and he struck out only 1 less guy than Wheeler. There were some times during this game where, of course, Wheeler looked really, really dominant, which was most of the time. And then there were times as well that Darvish looked dominant. That first inning, when he got out of that first inning, I was pretty confident that he was going to be able to cruise, and he kind of did. I mean, he gave up 2 home runs, I know. One of them was a real home run, the other to Bryce Harper. I mean, for me, that was like a pop-up that went out. That's just Bryce's power. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if Darvish is upset at that, to be honest. So I liked what I saw from Darvish today. At points, just like Wheeler, he looked really good. After that first inning, as I just mentioned there like 30 seconds ago, where he had a runner on third with Bryce up, and that wasn't a great inning from Darvish. He got Bryce, but Bryce hit that ball hard, and it was just an amazing play by Crony at second base to get Harper at first to end the inning. But he walked Schwarber, wild pitch, got Schwarber to second, so it just wasn't a great inning from Darvish. There were some mistakes by him there. But after that, he settled in. And again, the home run that he allowed to Harper, I haven't even watched it on TV. Let me see where this pitch location was. Yeah, so, okay, it was up and away. And Nola, did he want it down and away? Looks like he wanted it down and away. Yeah, he wanted it down and away, and Darvish missed up and away. So maybe Darvish is mad about the pitch location. Like, up, it was higher than where he wanted it or where Nola asked for the pitch to be. But it was outside. Nola wanted it outside, and Harper took the pitch up and away, and he hit it over the fence to left field. I mean, look, where I was sitting in 323, it looked like it was a pop out to Profar. And Profar kept going back, and it looked like he might be under it. And then you look at the ball, and it was hit really, really high. And it kept carrying, and then Profar just ran out of room. I'm not really mad at that. Like, Harper, he's a tremendous player. Kyle Schwarber, he's a tremendous player. But Darvish is probably more mad at that one because that felt more like an actual home run. That wasn't just a home run. That ball got smashed. That wasn't just a ball that went, on the T-Mobile deck or whatever that's called now, the Templeton Rye deck or whatever it is. No, that ball hit the second deck. And I was sitting in 323, row 6, and Schwarber later in the game, after he hit that first home run, he hit a foul ball that went all the way to 323, which is all the way down the first baseline as far as you can go, way down in the right field corner up. And he fouled it off and went past my seats. Like, that was a bomb. And then today, obviously, the home run that he hit earlier before that foul ball, that ball was crushed. Obviously, Bryce Harper, left speechless. That's going around the internet. But that Schwarber pitch, wanted the ball down, and was that a changeup? It's just right over the middle of the plate. And that ball, from my angle, I'm sitting about level with the foul pole in right field, and that ball went all the way up at the top of the foul pole. That's kind of where it looked like. The ball was smashed. So you got to give it to Schwarber. But tonight, I mean, the story they came up with the home runs. They didn't blow out the Padres, or it's not like I can be pissed off because a bunch of Padre runners were left on base or a bunch of guys were left in scoring position. They just didn't get a lot of runners in total. Like, sure, I can be frustrated. I think you can be frustrated about that ninth inning when they didn't capitalize on Bohm's throwing error, the ground ball from Soto, swinging early, ground ball, Bohm throws it, bad throw to second base, and now it's first and second with one out. Manny and Bell come up. Manny flies out. Bell strikes out. He whiffs on every pitch. I can understand being frustrated with that Bell and Manny didn't come through. But the guy who they were facing, I think it was Jose Alvarado, like, he's a very talented pitcher too. And if I went back and watched that Bell at-bat, or at least the last pitch of that at-bat, and that was a nasty breaking ball that he threw. And I know he's a professional hitter and he has to hit it. But the Phillies, for me tonight, I'm just tipping my cap to the Phillies pitching. I mean, the Padres pitching was great as well. I think it was Garcia and Martinez that came in after Darvish tonight, and they didn't allow any runs. The bullpen has been really, really good this postseason. One of the Padres' MVPs this season, definitely, or this postseason, definitely. So look, I'm not. Yeah, it's frustrating that they lost. It's always a disappointment losing a postseason game, right? You're here, you just beat the Dodgers, and now you get 3 hits against the Phillies, right? I can understand some people being frustrated, and I'm more not frustrated. I'm more just disappointed that they lost. But again, I'm not gonna sit here and be all pissed off and yelling and all that. Like, I realize that tomorrow we have Blake Snow on the mound. We beat Aaron Nola last time. I know it was like 1-0, but we still beat Aaron Nola last time. And Snell, he pitched good against the Dodgers his last time out, but better than that Mets start. And he's pitching at home. He seems to pitch better at home than on the road. And why can't they go win tomorrow? If they win tomorrow and it's 1-1, then it turns into a best-of-5 series. The Phillies have the home field advantage, 3-2, but this regular season, the Padres have played better on the road. That game, or the series against the Mets, they had to win those 2 games on the road. They split against the Dodgers in those 2 games on the road. Like, they play good on the road too. So I'm looking at this more the positive viewpoint. Sure, you'd like to win both games, but splitting against a team that's pretty much on your level, you're the same playing level, if that makes sense. 87 wins, 89 wins, great starting pitching, at least the top of the rotation, great bullpen as of late. They got offensive power throughout the lineup. The Padres and Phillies are very similar teams, I think. And so as long as they split, like, if they don't win tomorrow, then I'll probably be more, irritated and pissed off, right? Because this is a team I think the Padres should be able to beat, and I expect them to beat after beating the Mets and the Dodgers, right? But it is one game. It is a longer series, so that's the good thing. You have Joe Musgrove pitching in Game 3. So all of a sudden, you could go after Game 3 on, what it would be, Friday night? Sitting here Friday night, I could be saying, oh, Padres are up 2-1. Snell and Musgrove just had quality starts. Padres got to Nola early. They were able to get to Ranger Suarez. Or they were able to get to the Phillies bullpen. Like, I could be saying this. I could also be saying they're down 3-0 or they're down 2-1. But um, I'm happy that they're here. One, I think we do have to realize that. You got to be happy that they are in the NLCS. I wasn't expecting them to be in this position. I don't think many of us were expecting the Padres to be in this position. I believe in this team, and I still continue to believe in this team. Like this one game against the Phillies where Zack Wheeler and the Phillies bullpen pitched really, really well. And oh, by the way, the Padres pitching staff today, Martinez, Garcia, and Darvish, they pitched well as well. It's just hard for me to get too disappointed or too pissed off in this loss. Yeah, it's disappointing, but you got a day game tomorrow. Not a lot of time to sulk, and that's the good thing, right? If they can get the win tomorrow, they have the off day Thursday. Then, like I said, you have Musgrove starting Friday, and all of a sudden, the series looks a lot better, right? And that here, I mean, I think this is good perspective. The Dodgers series, they won 3 games in a row against the Dodgers, an 111 win team, right? And they weren't able to beat the Dodgers ace in game 1. Doesn't that sound familiar? It's a familiar start, right, to this series, right? They weren't able to beat Wheeler, the Phillies ace in game 1, but guess what? Now we have the next 6 games possibly where the Padres can go still win this series. Like, the series is far from over. Sure, there's going to be people on Twitter that are, disappointed and pissed off at the offense. And it's like, really? We beat the Dodgers and you only can muster together 1 hit? Like, I understand. That's frustrating. But for me, I'm just tipping the cap to the Phillies really today. Sure. Manny, you could say he should be coming through there. He's the MVP. You should be saying, or you could be saying, yeah, we got Josh Bell. We traded for Josh Bell situations and not, whiff 3 times. But that's baseball, right? Jose Alvarado, he's a pretty darn good pitcher. Sir Anthony Dominguez, who they threw out there, I believe, in the 8th inning, he's a pretty darn good pitcher as well. So props to Harper with the power getting that ball out, fastball up and away. And props to Schwarber for absolutely demolishing that one pitch that was left right over the middle of the plate by Darvish. I mean, that's really what there is to say about this game, I think. I'll go through the comments here. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, this is episode 253 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. The game went by fast. I'll look up the time, how long this game took. But it started at 5, and I was home, took the trolley home by like 9. So it went really fast, and that's what happens when it's a pitcher's duel. 2 hours and 43 minutes. I'll take that. 44,826 was the attendance. I mean, look, I thought it was, again, talking about the crowd, I thought it was a pretty good atmosphere. It wasn't going to live up to like game 4 or anything like that unless there was like a crazy moment. And even then, it's not the Dodgers. It's not on the weekend. I mean, the weekend doesn't matter. It is the playoffs. So scratch the weekend excuse. But it's not against the Dodgers. There wasn't much offense at all in this game between either team. So I think, it was sold out. Fans still brought it. Like when guys got on base or there was any type of rally or in the 9th inning, everyone was standing, waving the towels and stuff. But it just didn't seem like it was as loud or the energy was quite as there. But I was expecting that going in. So I'm not like disappointed in the crowd or anything. And like, I'm disappointed with the loss, but it's just flip the page and move on. It's not really like, oh, damn, the Padres suck tonight. It was more the Phillies came away with the timely home runs and the Padres didn't. Nola had that one. What was that? It was a line drive kind of in the gap. That ball didn't go over the fence in right center. I forget what inning, but one of his at-bats. That ball didn't go over. And the Phillies, their balls that were hit deep, those did go over the fence. So that's pretty much what the difference was. Love is everything says the crowd didn't stand up till the ninth inning like they didn't care. No, the crowd stood up. Whenever Darvish had 2 strikes on a batter, they stood up. Whenever it was like 3-0 on Profar, they stood up. Like, the crowd did stand up pretty frequently throughout the game. They didn't stay standing, like, for innings upon innings upon innings like they did in Game 4 on Saturday. But again, that was expected. Like, it wasn't raining. I think the rain also kinda had people continue to stand because they didn't wanna sit back down on Saturday night. But they were also winning after that 7th inning, and the crowd just wanted to party, right? The crowd knows that this is game 1 of a series, it's a longer series, so, win, that would've been great, but it's not like you were gonna have Will go, bar hopping after the game. You weren't gonna have fans having a parade in the streets or anything. It's just a game 4, possible game clincher, which is what they did in that series, versus a game 1, those are 2 different things, and it's a different opponent. We don't hate the Phillies. Maybe we will by the end of this series, kinda like I don't know if I hate, but I strongly dislike the Mets, especially Buck Showalter after what he pulled in game 3 against Musgrove. Um, but, like, right now, I don't think we hate the Phillies, where we all hate the Dodgers, right? Takey says, "Nolan Wheeler are our biggest obstacles." I agree, yeah, and I think that's why I'm trying to look at this more through a positive lens. Like, okay, they lost to Wheeler, but that's what they did against the Dodgers in the last series. They lost to Arias, and then they won 3 straight. So let's see what they can do against Aaron Nola tomorrow. I feel like I'm going to say Austin at some point, confusing the brothers. But let's see what they do against Aaron Nola tomorrow, the 2-starter. We have Snell on the mound, pitches better at home compared to on the road, at least from just memory's sake. I don't have the stats in front of me. But his last start against the Dodgers, he pitched well at home in this postseason. So I'm trying to take that positive. And after that, yeah, they're on the road, but they do play well on the road. They don't get they don't, get scared or they don't press on the road or anything like that. And you have Joe Musgrove going in game 3. Like, that is I don't think there's a better game 3 starter in baseball than Joe Musgrove, probably. At least that I would have. We saw what he did against the Mets in that game 3. We saw what he did against the Dodgers, going 6 innings, 2 runs in game 4 on Saturday. So, look, like I said earlier, this series could flip. Being down 1-0, it's definitely not the end of the world. This Phillies team is a good team. They had their best starter today. And the Padres, they have more depth pitching-wise, I think, than the Phillies do. And that could really help this series because it's a longer series. There's only that one off day on Thursday. And then they could play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all in a row with no off days. All 3 in Philly, come back, and then play what would be Monday, Tuesdays, game 6 and 7 in San Diego. Because of the lockout, they're trying to make up for it and speed up the postseason, I guess. I think that's what the explanations have been. So having fewer off days, you're going to need more arms, you're going to need more bodies, and I think the Padres can benefit from that. Doe says Phillies have real power hitters. I mean, we saw that tonight, yeah. But Manny can hit a bomb. We know that. Soto can hit a bomb. He almost hit bombs against the Dodgers on, was it Saturday, Friday? Over the weekend, he almost hit 2 of them to left. We saw at Dodger Stadium, we saw Will go yard. We saw Manny go yard. We saw Jake go yard. And that was not just yard. He smashed that ball. Against the Mets, obviously. On the East Coast, we saw Josh Bell, Trent Grisham, Jurickson Profar, Manny Machado. We saw them all go yard in game 1 off of Max Scherzer. So I'm not saying like all Profar is not a power hitter. Grisham isn't, he has power, but he's not, I don't think he's seen as a power hitter. But the Padres do have the ability to hit home runs. So I don't think we should focus on, the Phillies have more real power hitters and the Padres don't. Like, I think it just comes down to the Phillies tonight. They came through with the home run and the Padres didn't. But the Padres have the ability to hit home runs. They just didn't tonight. The Phillies pitching again was really, really good. Jason says, shame Josh Bell swung at 3 balls. I don't know if were they balls. The final one that he swung at was a strike. I know that. I didn't see the first 2 pitches because section 323, that's just not a great view. But the last one, at least from the video I saw, that was a strike. It was just a nasty pitch. Maybe were the first 2 pitches fastballs? It did look from my seat that those pitches were up in the zone. So maybe, but you have them up there to try to go yard. You have them up there to try to get an extra base hit, right? Bomel's going to say we want him to just continue the game, but it is Josh Bell. We saw what he did in game 1 off Scherzer last or whatever Friday that was, a couple of Fridays ago, you know? So he's up there to provide power. And so he's swinging hard. And Sir Anthony Dominguez has some nasty stuff, and he missed. Sure, it's disappointing, but again, I'm not gonna, bash Josh Bell for not coming through there. Manny didn't come through either. Doe asks, play Drury instead of Bell. I mean, maybe tomorrow. What? Nola's a righty. I don't know I don't know the numbers. I haven't looked at the numbers. Nola against the Padres. I'll try to look them up here. So Soto is hitting 273 off of Nola. Myers is hitting 273 as well. Josh Bell is hitting 158. He is 3 for 19. Let me look at Brandon Drury. Brandon Drury is 1 for 3. I mean, it's a smaller sample size for Drury. Maybe Drury gets in there over Bell. Nola has more experience facing Bell over Drury, so maybe they do have Drury go in there. So yeah, maybe tomorrow. But today, as for the Padres' decision to have Bell over Drury today, I was fine with that. Bell had better numbers against Wheeler heading in over Drury, I believe. I looked that up this morning. So I wasn't surprised by that. I was fine with that. Maybe you should say, Drury should be pinch hitting for Bell in that situation. But what are you going to do? I mean, I was fine. I think it was a righty, right? Sir Anthony Dominguez was a righty, so they had Bell turn him around, and he was a lefty there. And Drury's just a righty. He's not a switch hitter, so maybe they wanted the lefty matchup there, and so they were like, hey, we're going to go with Bell here in the 9th inning. No, Alvarado's a lefty, so Bell was righty there. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, they just like Bell over Drury then, I guess. They know more than we do. Mike says we've been tipping the cap to the opposing pitcher since the season started. Enough already. Keep making excuses for Josh Bell to be in the lineup. Enough already of that. I mean, is Brandon Drury doing a whole lot for the Padres right now? Their Padres offense? I don't think so. So I think they're just trying to find the guy. They're trying to get one of them hot. They're looking at matchups, and they're putting that guy in. Will is going to be playing first base, it seems like. So it's between Drury and Bell for the DH spot every day. That's just what it comes down to. And in terms of the comment, Mike, about me tipping or us tipping the cap to opposing pitchers since the season started, kind of not. Like, this year, there's been some times where they've actually played really well against the great pitchers, and it's like the rookie pitchers where we can't hit them, like in the regular season. So when that happens, no, I don't think I tipped my cap to the rookie pitcher that dominated the Padres offense. But when it's Zack Wheeler and he had his stuff tonight, I think that was pretty clear. And the bullpen didn't give up any runs. Sometimes it's okay to tip your cap to the other team's great pitching staff. It is hard to hit against Zack Wheeler. I mean, I don't have personal experience, but I'm sure if I went and asked players, they'd say, yeah, it's pretty darn hard. He's a pretty darn good pitcher. So you can get mad at them. Look, you're a fan. We're passionate here. It's the playoffs, right? You want everything to go well, but they're not going to win every game. They're not going to beat every pitcher. And I'm choosing to look at it from the viewpoint of what happened last series. where the Padres lost to Arias, but they did battle back later in the game. Today, they didn't score any runs, but they did battle back. They did get some runners on in that ninth inning. They didn't come through, but they did battle back in that sense, getting some guys on, at least having a chance. They had the game-winning run at the plate, game-tying run at first base, but they didn't come through. It's unfortunate, but that's what happened. I'm just trying to look at the positives here, and they won game 1 against the Mets, lost game 2, won game 2 against the Dodgers, lost game 1. Like, just split the first 2 games, and definitely now split the first 2 because they already lost game 1. So win tomorrow in the day game with Snell on the mound and Hader, Suarez. That's another positive. The back of the Padres bullpen. Garcia pitched today, Martinez, but Hader, Wilson, Suarez, they'll be good to go. Garcia, Martinez will be good to go again today or tomorrow, excuse me. They have the off day on Thursday. Like, they can use that off day to rest then. So the bullpen's going to be good. That's a positive. And just split these first 2, turn it into a best of 5. That's the best you can do right now in these first 2 games at home. And then you have the best 3-starter probably in baseball on the mound for game 3 in Philly. He can definitely face that environment because he did it in New York. I think he can do it in Philly. And you just ride from there. Mike again says, no way can this team go down 0-2 because of continued lack of offense, more great starting pitching wasted. You could say the starting pitching, Darvish, was wasted tonight because he did pitch well. But, the offense could show up tomorrow and we're not having the same conversation, right? I do agree, Mike, with your comment that there's no way this team can go down 0-2. Like, if they go down 0-2, now they have to win 4 of the next 5 games to win the series, and that's probably going to be tough. They won 3 in a row against the Dodgers. Like, they can go on those winning streaks like that in a postseason series because they just proved it, but that's still going to be tough to do in back-to-back series. You don't want to get into a 0-2 hole, and then you're going to Philly, and then what happens? Like, I'm confident in Musgrove, but what happens if he's not on his game there? Or what happens if we have a start like tonight where he is good, maybe makes a couple mistakes, but the offense doesn't come through and they lose that game? Now you're down 0-3 with Clevenger and Mania in game 4, right? So, yeah, I agree. Cannot go down 0-2. That would be really, really hard to dig that hole or, get out of that hole. They would dig that hole if they did go down 0-2. It'd be hard to get out of that hole, if that makes sense. So I agree with that, Mike. I do think that they can win tomorrow. The series definitely is not over. It's game 1. Eric asked, Ben, do you think the Padres will have a better offensive game tomorrow? I mean, I hope so. You would think that they're going to get more than 1 hit the entire game. Nola, he's tough as well. Let me look at Nola's postseason, what he did in his last start. I believe he pitched well. Hang on, I'm loading it on Baseball Reference. Yeah, he hasn't given up a run yet in this postseason. First 2 postseason games of his career, he went 6 2/3 innings, gave up no runs in the wild card series, game 2 against Philly, for Philly against St. Louis. And then in game 3 of the division series, he went 6 innings and gave up no runs, no earned runs. 1 run, but no earned runs. So he's been tough. He's pitched well his last 2 starts, but Snell pitched well his last start against the Dodgers. So I have confidence that we could probably see a similar game as we saw tonight, and the Padres can come through with those big hits. I mean, when they faced Nola last time, I know it's different rosters, but the bottom of the order came through. Nola came through with that big hit. Padres won, I believe, that game 1-0. And so if the bottom of the lineup can come through again tomorrow, I mean, yeah, I think they're going to have a better offensive game. Also, if the top of the lineup comes through as well. I don't think Manny's going to not come through again tomorrow because he's just that good of a talent. I just don't expect him to Um, if there's a situation where there's a runner in scoring position, I expect them to come through or get on base or, bring it to the next guy, and not pop out. But maybe that's just me being too optimistic. I look, I am happy that the Padres are in the NLCS. I think that they should win this series. I think they should win it in like 6 games. But look, I'm going at this from the positive, optimistic viewpoint. Thank you all for being in the chat here. I appreciate it here at a little before 10 o'clock here. Just reacting here. Padres Phillies game 1 NLCS. Padres lost 2-0 to the Phillies. Snell against Nola tomorrow. 1:35, I believe, is the first pitch. I'm curious to see what the crowd's going to look like tomorrow, to be honest. I think it'll be packed. I don't know if it's going to be sold out just because maybe some people, they took off of work for like the division series and stuff, like so they could be down there all day on Friday before game, what was that, 3 against the Dodgers this past weekend, or maybe they work on the weekend and they took off Saturday and they just can't take every day off in October when the Padres have a home game, so they're gonna have to work. And postseason tickets are also expensive. Uh, but I do think it's going to be a very good crowd. I mean, who knows the next time the Padres are going to be in the NLCS? So I'm hoping fans are going to look at it from that viewpoint, and they're going to be like, I don't know the next time we're going to be here, so let's go to these games. Let's go to all these games, um, and hopefully our boss is okay with that, and you know, he actually likes that his employees have passions outside of whatever they're doing. But we'll see. We'll see. Day game tomorrow. The Padres have actually been lucky because, the Mets games, those were at night, I believe, all of them. But it was New York, so that was expected. And then the Dodger games, that was the West Coast series. I think Seattle was a West Coast, but they were playing in the day. Padres Dodgers, that was like a marquee matchup, so they wanted it in prime time or the late West Coast game. Here you have Astros Yankees in the ALCS, and the Yankees and Guardians, they just finished that series today. Yankees won that one like 5-1, 5-2, whatever the score was. They beat down Josh Naylor and the Guardians, so they're now going to Houston. And I know this was scheduled before the postponement, the day before yesterday, or no, before the postponement yesterday for that Yankee game. But I think that they want Yankees Astros with the storylines and Altuve, the buzzers, the cheating and stuff. They want that to be the primetime games, at least now. I do believe when the games go back to Philly, that the Padres do get 1 or 2 primetime games. Might be Friday, Saturday. If I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry, but I think that's when they do get those. And then Sunday, it's at like 11 o'clock start or something our time. So they are flip flopping, like who gets the primetime games. It's not like our series is, once this ALCS starts, it's not like our series is going to get all day games. There's going to be some night games as well. But that's just way that's just the way, excuse me, that this postseason schedule worked out. I mean, the off days, I think that's kind of weird. I think you should, in the postseason, you should have an off day when you're traveling to another city. That's just me. Especially when they're going from the West Coast to the East Coast and then the East Coast to the West Coast. Like they have the off day going from the West Coast to the East Coast after tomorrow's game, that off day Thursday, but then they don't have an off day coming back to Petco for a possible game 6 on Sunday night. Monday, they play game 6 if necessary, obviously. So, the NBA, they have like 2 off days in between almost every game, it feels like. It takes like 2 or 3 months to get done with the playoffs. You forget who made the postseason. It's like literally 2 different seasons. Where here it takes a month. There's just not as many off days, but at least have an off day on travel, I think. I know that teams, they usually just get out the day or the night of that game so that they can have a full rest day in their hotel and stuff. But at least having that day to acclimate yourself to the time zone, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just think that's better. But I like watching baseball as a fan. I'm just trying to think of it from like the player perspective. I don't think they're big fans of having to play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on consecutive days, possibly if there's a 7-game series. Looking at the game times, 1:35 tomorrow, Snell Nola. Then the off day Thursday, like I mentioned, Yankees Astros would be game 2 of ALCS at 4:37. That's Thursday. And then Friday, Padres Phillies. That's the only game on, so that game is prime time, at least on the East Coast, 4:37 at Citizens Bank. Probably Musgrove against Ranger Suarez. And then Saturday, Padres, they have the primetime game. That's at 4:45 Pacific. Astros Yankees is 2:07. That's game 3 for that series. And then Sunday, if necessary, game 5. That's, as I talked about, that's the day game. 11:37 a.m. Pacific time, 4:07 p.m. Pacific time. Astros Yankees game 4. That again, that's Sunday. Monday, 5:03 game 6 here if necessary. And then Tuesday, 5:03 if necessary. So most of the games actually are later, but tomorrow is the day game. All right, back to the chat here. By the way, I will get to the A-Rod stuff. There was some reaction about a video I posted on YouTube here and on social media about me talking to A-Rod today. And some people didn't like it, some people loved it. I'll touch on that in a little bit. Mike says he's not mad at the Padres, just simply doesn't want to see Bell in the lineup anymore. That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. If you want Drury in there, yeah. But I think you're going to see Bell if there's like a righty on the mound, probably. Maybe not every time, but I think the Padres like having that switch hitting option. When there's a righty, and if they want to bring in a lefty, they can just switch Bell right around to a righty. You can't do that with Drury. I think they're also going to just keep trying to alternate the guys. Whoever has the better matchup, they play him. Hopefully that guy gets hot during that game, and then you keep him in the lineup. Kind of like how Grisham stayed in the lineup. Nola was going to anyway, but he stayed in the lineup. Crony was always going to be in the lineup, but he's hot. He's in the lineup, hitting 5th. I think he was hitting 5th today in front of Myers, who was hitting 6th. Sounds right. So I think they're probably trying to just find the hot guy, and both guys aren't really doing much right now. Mike asks, who's worried about our pitching? No one. I don't think anyone is. Yeah, the offense is the question mark, I think. I think the Phillies should worry about their pitching more than we should, but their pitching, obviously, I just gave them props for their pitching. It's, this whole episode. So, both teams, like I mentioned earlier, both teams are comparable to one another. Easy to compare. I mean, top of the rotations, really good. Bullpens, as of late, really good. Lockdown, lineup, top to bottom, most guys, pretty good. So it's an even series. Both teams, they had upsets in the first 2 rounds. Phillies went into St. Louis, beat them in I think it was the first 2 games. And then they went and beat the Braves. Braves had home field advantage. They had time off. Phillies beat them. Padres beat the Mets in New York, beat the Dodgers, obviously. Won 3 in a row there to end that series. So both teams have had to upset other teams to get to this point. Like, both teams are good. It's not like the Padres are sitting here, oh, thank goodness we get to play the Phillies, or at least that wasn't their mindset going into this series. They know that the Phillies are talented. You don't get to the NLCS if you're not talented, right? And then the Phillies, they're going to look at it as the same as we did, probably. They're saying the Padres are very talented. They just beat the 100-plus win Mets, the 111-win Dodgers. They won 3 games against the Dodgers. Like, this team is good. They're at home. The crowd was nuts during that Dodgers series. They're going to have to bring it, and the Phillies did bring it tonight. And the Padres pitching did bring it. Like, Darvish he gave up some home runs, and the Phillies didn't. Luis asks, any thoughts on Snell pitching against the Phillies tomorrow, especially after what happened with Bryce last time they hosted the Phillies during the regular season? No, I don't really have any thoughts on that. Snell told the media today, I believe, that He's not going to pitch Bryce any different. He didn't mean to hit him. Still has no intent to do anything to him. And Bryce realizes that. Remember in the regular season, Bryce was pissed off at Snell immediately when it happened, and he said, "Throw it in the effing strike zone," I think is what he said. But then before he even got to the dugout, he was like, "All right, my bad. I'm sorry. It's just heat of the moment. My bad. I know you didn't mean it." So they're good. Bryce is still going to dig in there like he digs in to the batter's box. Snell is still going to pitch inside. Look, that's how you get Bryce out. You don't want Bryce to get extended, right? We saw tonight where you had the fastball up and out. I think it was outside the zone, to be honest, but it was a fastball up and away, and Bryce still hit that out. I thought it was a fly out, but it still got out because of how much power he has, how strong he is. So don't let that guy get extended. So Snell's going to pitch him inside, and I don't think Bryce is. When you get in the box, maybe like on the on-deck circle or something, you might think about it. But once he gets in there, I at least for me, I wouldn't think about it because I'm just trying to get a hit off this pitcher. I'm just trying to get on base. I'm trying to help my team. And Snell, same thing. He's just trying to get Bryce out. He knows Bryce is one of the best hitters in baseball. He's one of the best hitters on the Phillies, if not the best. So he's just trying to get him out, not allow him to get on base, not allow him to hit one over the fence like he did against Darvish today, right? So no. Those are my thoughts, I guess, on the Snell Harper situation. All right, so I wanted to get to this A-Rod thing. I mean, so on social media today, I posted a video of Alex Rodriguez. He, Big Papi, Frank Thomas, Kevin Burkhardt, they're the pregame guys for Fox. They are in town at Petco Park, and they're doing their pre- and post-game show in Gallagher Square. So before the game today, I went over to Gallagher Square and just was going to watch the show. I was actually going to take a picture of the booth and just post it on Twitter or whatever, and then I was going to leave. I was going to go up to my seat. But then A-Rod got up, and so I figured, why not? Let's go try to ask him a question. Let's go try to talk to him. Remember, A-Rod, Big Papi, they did not give the Padres a chance at the beginning of that Dodgers series. They didn't give him a chance to win the series. Frank Thomas at least had the Padres winning 2 games. He said Dodgers in 5. None of them picked the Padres. Big Papi said the Padres weren't going to win a game, said it was a sweep. And A-Rod said that the Padres were going to win 1 game. So just wasn't giving the Padres the respect, was thinking the Dodgers were going to easily hand it to the Padres. And the Padres obviously handed it to the Dodgers. They won the last 3 games in a row and sent the 111-win Dodgers, franchise regular season record, blah, 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 sent them home, and it was great. And so A-Rod's prediction was obviously wrong, and I'm tired of people not giving the Padres credit. And there's some people out there that will say, hey, Padres played a great series. And some people now will say, oh, Padres are built for the World Series after they just picked the Padres to lose in 3 or 4 games to the Dodgers. Like you can't have it both ways, right? You believe in the team or you don't. And so as A-Rod was, he was walking through the concourse, and so I went up and filmed and asked him, what do you think about, or what did I say? I said something like, how did that Dodger prediction work out for you? What do you have to say to Padres fans? Like, just say you were wrong. Just, apologize, whatever. And he kept walking, didn't say anything. And I can play the audio if you want me to. I'll play the audio. But I got a bunch of responses and saying don't make the Padres fan base look like idiots like this. Like some people didn't like it. And I was like, I didn't respond to people because I was going to give my response here. And to be honest, my intention was not to make our fan base I don't know, not make our fan base look like idiots or anything. My intention was just to give respect actually to the Padres, to have A-Rod give respect to the Padres after him being wrong with his prediction. He expected the Dodgers to win in 4. The Padres won in 4. He got the games right. And so I just went up and asked. And people were like, "Oh, why are you stalking this guy?" Like, I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, I wasn't stalking the guy. Here's what happened. I was standing there in Gallagher Square. A-Rod walked. He got up from the desk, walked to the right, was going to the concourse, and so I went over there to go talk to him. I didn't stalk the guy. There was a guy that posted a video on Twitter today of him filming A-Rod taking a piss in the bathroom today in the 8th inning. Like, that's stalking a guy. I didn't do that. I didn't go into the bathroom. By the way, he went to the bathroom when I was going to go talk to him. I had no idea that he was doing that. I didn't go in the bathroom. I didn't go anywhere near the bathroom. But he had like 5 or 6 security guards kick people out of the bathroom so A-Rod could go. I thought that was a little too much. Like, people can't go use the restroom. Like, A-Rod's just like us. He's a human being. But yeah, so that was weird. Anyway, I didn't go stalk A-Rod. I didn't go take videos of him in the bathroom. All I did was, and I'll play the audio here. All I wanted was him to give respect to the Padres, and he just didn't say anything. I wasn't really expecting him to say anything, to be honest, but I tried, and he didn't say anything, and I posted it. That's all that happened. So here is the A-Rod audio. I'm trying to load it here. My phone's not loading. Here we go. Let me go down. So here's the A-Rod audio here. So here he's walking in Gallagher Square right now.
A-Rod, how'd the prediction work out? How'd that Dodger prediction work out? A-Rod, what do you have to say to Padres fans?
There we go. That's all I did. What do you have to say to Padres fans? Just wanted to see if he would apologize, say he was wrong. How the Dodger prediction worked out. It was kind of just in a funny, joking way. I wasn't saying you're an idiot, you freaking moron. Like, no, I was just saying in a joking way, how'd that Dodger prediction work out? Like, if I was talking to one of my friends and they were picking the Dodgers, how'd that Dodger prediction work out? Not so great, huh? That's all. And people took it way too far. They were like, "Why are you stalking the guy?" Just, and I'm like, I wasn't stalking the guy. I had no idea he was even getting up. I wasn't sitting there for 2 hours waiting for him to get up. I walked to Gallagher Square, took a picture. As I was walking away, saw A-Rod get up from the set. I was like, let me go walk and see what and maybe go try to talk to him. And I got up next to him, and he didn't say anything back. Not a big deal. End of story. I think that says that. So I wanted to touch on that. Obviously, the focus of this episode, Padres, Phillies, game 2 tomorrow. Today, yeah, it was a disappointment. You know, the Padres, their offense just didn't show up, but the Phillies' offense didn't show up a ton either. Again, they just got those timely hits, which ended up being home runs. You had Bryce with the home run. Look, I thought it was a fly ball to left, and it kept going. You don't want Bryce to get extended there. And Kyle Schwarber, he crapped on that ball. He did. Smashed it. 488 feet or whatever it was. Okay. The Padres got 1 hit off of Wheeler. Both guys, Darvish and Wheeler, they went 7 innings, quality starts. Both bullpens pitched well. The Padres had that chance there in the 9th inning, didn't come through. Disappointing, but we got game 2 tomorrow. It's a longer series, and by the end of Friday night, this series could totally turn into the Padres' favor. So I'm not going to go overreact. I wasn't pissed off. It was disappointing. I hope I didn't come across as like pissed off at this game. I wasn't yelling or anything, just calm, disappointed, sure, but I'm happy to be here in the NLCS, and we got a game tomorrow. Bump day with Snell on the mound. They have a good chance of winning tomorrow, I think, just like I thought they had a good chance of winning today, and hopefully it goes right tomorrow. So that's the episode 253, Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Game 1 reaction between the Padres and Phillies. This episode was brought to you by GAGLIONE Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. Yes, I know it's not really ideal to be sponsoring cheesesteaks during a Phillies series, but if you want cheesesteaks, if Phillies fans are listening to this, you want cheesesteaks, they're available at Petco Park tomorrow. They're available at Snapdragon Stadium for Wave and Aztecs games. Shout out to the Wave, by the way, for winning that playoff game. This weekend, they're playing Portland next Sunday, so that's exciting. And Gaglione Bros is actually, their main location is on Friars Road. GaglioneBros.com is the website. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for watching, for supporting the show at Talking Friars on social media. Like this video on YouTube. Subscribe if you have not already. Daily Padres content. I'm just a diehard Padres fan like all of you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow reacting to a Game 2. I'll have a pregame show before Game 2, probably from Petco. And yeah, that's that. Have a good night, everybody. See you later. Go Pods.